Okay, it looks like my countdown ended. So I'm going to go ahead and get this party started. Well, I mean, continue the party, right? Welcome, everyone. It is so fun to see where you are all from. My name is Kim O'Brien, and I'm going to be your host for the next 50 minutes or so. And let's just go ahead and get started. As Brian mentioned, same housekeeping rules are going to apply in all your sessions today. We're going to be using the Q&A and the chat. We are not going to be using raise hand just because it's the number of people. So in the chat, if you could change those settings, just like it says right here, to send your chat to everyone. It looks like you might have already done that just from all of the responses that we're seeing already. But if you haven't, go ahead and update that. You can operate the closed captioning if you'd like to have that. It's an automated feature. And then also just behind the scenes, I mentioned it earlier, but Dawn and Becky are with me here in our session, and they're going to be monitoring the Q&A and the chat and responding if you have a question. And then if anything needs to be addressed, they will let me know if any questions need to be repeated for the group. So anyway, welcome. We're at 167 attendees. This is absolutely the biggest virtual presentation I've experienced. So thank you for coming. And let me just clear up all these windows on my screen here. And here's our agenda for our time together. Just welcome and introductions. I'm going to show you how to navigate that teacher account. I'm going to take you into a specific lesson and just show you what that looks like, what that might look like, and then share with you some support resources. Before we get to that, I'd like to get a little bit more information from you all, just for my own information, while I do this session. So I'm going to launch a poll, quick one, and find out first which course or courses in a few of your cases do you teach? I think I have them. Oh, I might have not put on here United States through modern times now that I'm looking at it. So do you teach ancient civilizations, the medieval world, US history, geography, or something else? And I know a lot of states do actually, you can choose more than one. I think you can choose more than one option. Oh, I didn't include civics. Darn it. Okay, well, civics, just drop it in the chat if you teach civics. In some states, the ancient and the medieval history is combined into one course. So if you teach both of those, just add both. Civics, we got a lot of civics going on. Okay. So civics people, just choose other. We'll add you in there. And so wow, okay. US history almost 50%, and then ancient. Let's go ahead and end the poll. A couple more seconds to put in your response. And then I'm going to modern world history. Interesting. Ancient through, yeah, the 1750 high school. Oh, so this session, and I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and you can see share results. What we got here. And keep in mind, a lot of you some people might have chosen two. So that's why we're over 100%. But this session was designed for middle school social studies orientation. We do have a separate high school one if you'd like to go into the other session, but you're welcome to stay here. I'm going to stop sharing, and I do have one more question for you. Back. What launch? How many years have you been using TCI? And this is similar to Brian's question, but I just want to get an idea of how many newbies we have, how many veterans we have, so I can tailor this session to you all. Thanks. It is, yeah, let's see. the high school session. I'm just looking at while you guys are answering that, I'm going to look at my summit, what do we call it? The lobby page. I thought that there was on 2268. There is, it is, it says session 1D for 9 to 12 social studies. So I can see it in the lobby. You just have to click on the sessions. I won't be offended if you leave to go to that. But so it is, I think it should be in progress right now. Okay, let's go ahead and shut this down. And oh, I think I just made it disappear instead of share results. Here we go. And you have 40% of you, it's your first year with TCI. Oh, that's exciting. Oh my gosh, that's super exciting. And then we have a few that have a few years under their belt. And then we have a couple dozen of you that we have one binder teacher in the house. Awesome. And then a lot of you with more experience and maybe just joining to see what's going on. We are welcome. You are all welcome. Everyone's welcome. I'm going to be going over some basics and then just kind of walking you through the middle school courses. Now, it doesn't matter which course you teach, all of the navigation they're all going to be the same. So a little bit about me. My name is Kim O'Brien. I'm coming at you from San Jose, California. I've taught middle school since about 1995, back in the olden days before the internet. And this is the middle school. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Becky. And most recently, I taught 8th grade social studies, which is in California, U.S. history, and then a 6th grade core. And in California, our 6th grade is ancient civilizations. And then some schools have that with ELA, and I'm sure that's probably similar across the country. I started using TCI when I was a student teacher way back in the day, and have been using it ever since. I was fortunate enough that every district that I've been in, just a few, all had TCI available for me. So fun times. So here are our middle school programs. And you should see something familiar up there. Again, I'm seeing that civics is not on here, but it's okay. Civics people, you are welcome in this session. And civics, yes, civics, I think, is sometimes taught in high school too, I think. Maybe that's what the confusion was. Anyway, the California programs are a little bit different just because of the way that the state does their adoptions. But somewhere on this screen, you should see a familiar program to you. Oh, question. Oh, I think, is there a difference between the two medieval and beyond tabs? Yes, the California one is the California version. Now, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but the lessons are almost all the same within the similar programs. So it just depends on what state you're in and which programs have been adopted in your state. So each of the programs has all of these components. First, we start with our student edition textbook. And these are designed in a specific way. You may have noticed that. I'm just going to flip ahead here. This is a hard copy, hardcover textbook, table of contents, blah, blah, blah. I'm flipping ahead. This preview has a lot to preview. I just want to get to some of the text for you. The text was designed to be accessible to all students. You'll notice it looks a little bit different than most traditional textbooks, the way that it's designed graphically. We only have a single column of text on each page. We have a lot of intentional white space. And then each page will end with a punctuation mark. sentences don't go on to the next page. And usually, as much as possible, we like to start the new section at the top of a page. Sometimes with the eighth grade texts or even the high school texts, it gets a little bit challenging to do that just because there's more, but whenever possible. The other difference you might have noticed is that at the end of each chapter or lesson, what we call them, there are no questions, right? So in a traditional textbook, there's questions at the end of the chapter that students answer. We don't have that. Our questions and comprehension and prompts are embedded within our classroom activities. And we will look at that in just a moment. So that's a textbook. Then we have the interactive student notebook, and that complements the textbook, and it is meant to be used with the classroom activities. Within the notebooks, you'll find a nice variety of different types of prompts. It isn't just straight up comprehension questions. We have graphic organizers, we have images. Sometimes we have just a straight question. We have maps. Sometimes there's a sensory figure that students will be using talk bubbles or putting thought bubbles on. So it's a really nice variety of prompts in that notebook. And then we have the teacher's guide. Excuse me, the teacher's guide has everything you want and need and more to help you facilitate the classroom activities, to help you prep, to help you to show you additional resources. And it also, this is important, it also has the answer keys to the notebook. So that is actually probably the most important part of the teacher's guide. Then we have placards in each program, and the placards are laminated full color cardstock, and they have all sorts of interactive images, art illustrations, primary sources, and these placards are usually used in what we call the social studies skill builder activities. These are usually stations activities where students are interacting with images, primary sources, and then reading text and interacting with it with their partner or with their group. And this isn't really usually bound. These are single individual placards. So this is a little bit misleading, but that's okay. And then of course, we have our online platform and our student account, and then our, oh, I think I clicked the next slide instead of the link, but you know what? I think we're ready. I think we're going to go to the next slide. So the online program, of course, is your planning and your planning headquarters and what you're going to be using. Within that, and I'm going to get into my account soon, but the main page that you should be most concerned about is the lesson overview page. And I mentioned this before, but our terminology is a little bit different than other curriculum companies. We are calling our chapters lessons. So whenever you see the word lesson, it isn't about what you're going to be teaching today or tomorrow. A lesson could take 3, 4, or 5 class periods, depending on what it is and how much of it that you're doing. So within the lesson overview page, you're going to find flexible lesson options, the reading and notebook prompts, the classroom activity slideshow, video activities, some dive deeper options, some additional texts that complement the content, and then your assessment options. Specifically, I'd like to draw your attention to what I consider the best resource and one that you will get a lot of use out of, and that's the classroom activity slideshow. It's a ready-made slide deck that you will just pop open, press play, and be able to facilitate this classroom activity with your students. It includes, all of our classroom activities include a preview that connects students' prior knowledge and lives with the content, then an activity, an interactive activity, and a processing formative assessment. and it's ready to go for you. And I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. We also have in each lesson video activities. And these cover the same content, but it is more of a student-directed piece where students can put on headphones, watch short videos, read the same content that they would do for the classroom activity in the reading, and then kind of move through it at their own pace. And I will show you one of those when we get in there. Well, all of that is a lot. Our programs have so many resources for you to use, but as Bert was saying in the introduction, we started as a company that wanted to make the learning come alive for students. So that's the heart of TCI. It has always been that way, and it always will be. So we want to help you bring learning and history alive with your students. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's go live. So I just logged into my account, and just for this session, for this demo purposes, I'm in the Medieval World program. You can be in any program you want. The setup, the platform is going to be the same. And this is the login screen. This is your default login screen, and we call it the home page. Excuse me, I'm already talking too much. This is your login screen, and this is where it's going to take you whenever you log in. And I want you to notice a few things about this page. First of all, we have our purple sidebar over here, and then you can navigate using any of these links. You can also navigate with anything on this side of the page. There's usually more than one way to get somewhere, to get where you want to go. One really nice feature on the homepage that is a little bit hidden is the table of contents, but I find that it's really helpful for quick navigation. So let me just show you. It's right here on the side in between student work and the units. And if you click it, it'll pop open and it'll take you to whatever lesson you're working on directly instead of having to navigate through different steps. So you'll see this is where your current assignments, anything you've assigned would show up, and then any work that's been turned in. Then if you scroll down, you'll see your units. We call these the unit tiles, and this is just like in a table of contents in the textbook. These are the units in your program. We're going to actually pop into Unit 2 today. And if you're in your account, feel free to follow along if you'd like to. Otherwise, be looking at my screen and maybe have a second pop over to yours just to kind of explore. So this is now the unit overview page. And you'll notice on the purple sidebar, it's also now reading that we're in the unit overview page. And on this page, you'll see we have some unit projects, openers and closers. We have a video here. And then if you scroll down further, you'll see the lessons that are in this unit. So this unit has 4 lessons or 4 chapters. And then whenever you see these libraries, these are all going to be the same whenever you see these buttons. This will take you to the video library, the games library, biographies, civics, primary sources, and assessments. What I would like to show you on this page, though, is one of my favorite features in the middle school programs, and that is the geography challenge. And my Wi-Fi is a little bit sleepy this morning. I'm not sure why. The geography challenge is a nice way to open a unit. It has an intro video, and then you know what, let me go ahead and play a little bit of this for you.
If you looked at a satellite picture of the Arabian Peninsula to see the surrounding land, you would find that it borders the continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe. You would also notice that most of the Arabian Peninsula is brown dry land. The history of the people who lived on the Arabian Peninsula was influenced by its dry climate and its central location between Africa, Asia, and Europe. The people of the Arabian Peninsula learned how to survive in the desert. They raised sheep, goats, and camels.
So I'm just going to pause that there. The video is going to have a unit introduction. It's going to talk about the geography and usually how the physical geography or how the geography is going to affect the history or the content that you're studying. It's really nice. And then you'll notice there's also a text here. And actually, the text is the narration, the script for the video. We've taken this text and we've made a video out of it. So it's really nice. The videos are really well done. So the thing that I really like about these geography challenges is that it's really more than just labeling places on a map and memorizing the locations. After students do actually label a map and kind of get their bearings, we go into some questions that they really need to examine the geography, just to kind of get them thinking a little bit about the geography and what role it might play. So they've labeled several items on their map. And then we go into some questions. How would the route of a trader traveling from Mecca to Cairo differ from that of a trader traveling from Mecca to Baghdad? So they need to kind of look at it from a little bit more critical point of view. And then the best parts about it, the critical thinking, how might the location of the Arabian Peninsula have contributed to the rapid spread of Islam? So now we're really kicking it up and they have to, use their critical thinking skills about the geography. Even if you're not going to do the geography challenge, you could still absolutely use these great unit opener videos. It's a nice resource. So I'm going to take us back to the unit overview page, and I can either click this or I can use the purple sidebar. And I tend to click this button. I don't know why. It's just kind of the one that I'm used to. And I'm going to go ahead and pop into one of our lessons, and I'm going into Muslim innovations and adaptations. Now, this lesson is in the Medieval World and Beyond program, but it's also in the World to 1750. So if you teach that course, you're going to find the same lesson in there. And now we are on the lesson overview page. And this is probably the most important page for you in terms of planning and teaching your lessons. And it's probably where you're going to spend the most amount of time. So we have this orange planning box here, and you should always expand it because there's much more than meets the eye in this orange planning box. And you'll see we have several tabs here at the top. The overview, just what it sounds like. You have your essential question. Each one of our lessons starts with an essential question that by the end of the lesson, students should be able to answer. What important innovations and adaptations did medieval Muslims make? And it just gives you a little snapshot of what is going on in this lesson. Then we have, of course, the materials tab, self-explanatory, gives you all the materials there. If you have hard copy student notebooks, here are you can also get this and use PDFs. So everything that's in the hard copy print materials is available in PDF form in your account in this materials tab. You run out of placards, you lose a placard, you can print some more out. And then of course, here's also your teacher's guide. Then we have the procedures, and here we go, step-by-step procedures for the prep and how to facilitate each part of this lesson, the preview, vocabulary, activity, and processing. We also have specific strategies and ideas for how you can differentiate this lesson for all of your groups of students. If you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see strategies for each of these groups of students. And these, at the top, we have some generic strategies, just things you can do all the time. But if you scroll down further, these are strategies specific to this content. Moving over to pacing options, this one is always a very popular tab because we have so many activities and materials. It's really difficult to fit everything in. So quicker coverage in under pacing options is really very helpful. Let's say you don't have enough time. You don't have 5 days. You don't have 5 class periods for this activity. How can you shorten it? Well, we've given you some ideas. And then, of course, there's also some ideas and suggestions for deeper coverage. Let's say you have extra time, kids are really into the topic. There you go. And finally, enhancing learning. These are some outside resources that we've curated that complement the content of the lesson that you could give to students. You can use these as an extension activity, however you would like to use them. They're there for you. Keep in mind, these are outside resources. TCI does not maintain them. So if you find a broken link, then please let us know. Also, if you have other resources that you think other teachers would like, then let us know and we can add them in here as well. So let's go ahead and collapse the orange planning box, and I'm going to take you to the flexible lesson options. So here's what I was showing you at the beginning. We have your reading and notebook prompts, classroom activity slideshow, and here's the video activity. In California, or I think these are still just in California, we are transitioning from this 1.0 slideshow to 2.0. So I think these are going away soon. So the 2.0 is the one you want to use if you are in California and you see the difference. It's the same activity, it's just new and upgraded slides and more functionality in your slides. Then we have some dive deeper options. This activity or this lesson, it has also a site of encounter activity, which if you teach medieval history, you know we have certain sites of encounter. So that's an extra activity. We also have some reading further and explore. We have some primary sources, Travels in Asia and Africa by Ibn Battuta, and we have some literature. So tons of nice additional texts in this lesson. Then we also have at the bottom, we have the assessment options. We have a processing that goes with the classroom activity. Then we have some lesson games, and we have a summative assessment. This assessment is already pre-written for you and aligns completely with the content of the lesson, but also is customizable. So let me take you into the reading. I just want to show you some features that we have in our digital reading support. Here's our introduction. So each lesson starts with an introduction. There's a certain number of sections, which varies by content, and then there's a summary. Each section is on a different page for the reading. So it's just one page at a time. We have a lot of the same features from the considerate text features in the digital platform that we have in the textbooks. So you'll notice again, single column of text, intentional white space. We also have additional features that we can do because it's a computer. For example, we have, if you click on a vocabulary word, the definition will pop up inline, which is really nice. We also have two different reading levels. We have A, which is going to be the grade level Lexile, and then we have B, which is approximately 25% lower, below grade level. And students can change it on their own, or you can have it preset for your students. Now the A level is the level that's in the textbook. We also have speech to text. And let me try that for you.
Muslim innovations and adaptations. What important innovations and adaptations did
So this is, I keep toggling this back. I'm going to show you the normal speed first.
medieval Muslims make?
Introduction. In the Middle Ages, Muslims developed a rich culture. By 7.
So that's the regular speed. I'm going to show you the slow speed. And the slow speed is something that we just got this past school year that teachers had been asking for.
50 CE, Muslims ruled
I think I need to start it over.
Spain, North Africa, The Middle East.
I think my Wi-Fi isn't. I'm going to stop. Okay, now we go.
Muslim innovations and adaptations. What important innovations and adaptations did medieval Muslims make?
So you can tell
Introduction.
it's a little bit slower. We also have a brand new feature as of 2 days ago that helps with translation in languages other than Spanish. I'm going to show you Spanish in a minute. So if we highlight text, I'm highlighting the essential question, then we're going to click to translate, and I'm going to translate this to Italian. And then we get a pop-up here that has the Italian of the essential question.
Quali innovazioni e adattamenti importanti apportarono i musulmani medievali?
Right? And then it reads it. Is that just I wasn't aware that this was coming until about a few weeks ago, and it should be because the site does work with Google Translate, but now we have it embedded into our platform. I know it's so awesome. So I'd love, and there are dozens of languages. I'm just going to look here. What other languages are there? We have, look at this. Yeah, game changer for those English learners. Another one of my favorite features, actually, this is probably my top favorite feature of the reading platform. I mean, the translator kind of got all the attention, but this light bulb will highlight the main ideas of a section in blue bold. This is and it does it for every section. So you can turn it on, you can turn it off. I've had teachers tell me that they turn the main ideas off for their students, which you can do, and then they have their students in groups or in partners try and figure out what they think are the main ideas, and then you can do the big reveal to see how they did. There's also a highlighting tool if you need to highlight things. There's a note tool that students can use, and then you can save the text in PDF form to Google Drive to share with your students or to print out. If you click on an image, it'll go full screen for you with a little magnifier tool, which is kind of fun. Kids really like this magnifier tool. Now I need to move my menus over. And if you scroll down a little bit, we have our social studies vocabulary, which will take you to the digital flashcards. And then at the bottom, after the text, you'll find a reading check. And these are quick multiple choice, or usually I think it's multiple choice. Sometimes it's matching, drag and drop. It's a quick formative question that's auto scored for your students after they've read the section, and you can assign these and they're auto graded. Then if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see the notebook prompts that go with that section of text. And then students can just answer it right there. To navigate to the next section, you can use this drop-down menu or the arrows, of course. And then on this left side drop-down menu, you can navigate to different lessons or different unit pieces. So with that, I'm going to go back to my lesson overview page, and I'm going to take you into a classroom activity, and just to give you an idea of what it's like and show you this phenomenal resource. This right here, what I showed you in a few minutes ago, is the classroom activity slideshow. This is a ready-made, ready-to-play slide deck. So I'm just going to press play. And here it is. You'll notice that we have links here so you can jump to whatever section you need to. Let's say you start the preview with 20 minutes left of one class period, and the next day you're going to go to the activity, you can jump straight to it. So I'm going to go straight into the preview and just walk you through this lesson, show you what it looks like, and so you can get an idea. So here's a preview ready to go.
Kim, if I can interrupt for just a quick second. Several people are asking a similar question to other folks in the group about changing the main idea settings, things like that. And I apologize, Kim, if you've already mentioned this, but you can actually go to the question mark at the top right of your screen when you're logged into the program. And from there, you can click on the help center. I'm sorry, I can't. Yep, help right there. And you can type in a phrase or a word about something that you're researching that you need help on. And 99% of the time, you will find an article and sometimes even a video clip that will show you how to do exactly what it is that you're inquiring about. So there are multiple ways that you can access the settings to shut off the main idea for students, for example. But one great place to always start for questions like that is right there at the Help Center.
Definitely. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. And then I will be showing this later, but we also have professional development courses, which are to me a little bit more like a tutorial to show you how to assign and grade, how to navigate and plan. When you're looking, and just since everybody's asking and since I mentioned it, this session is not long enough to go into everything, but anytime you want to turn off or on different features for your students, you're going to find it in settings. And it's pretty intuitive. Just go through these different tabs and you can see what access is allowed by student features and then also student access. So just kind of go through that a little bit, and you can change it for individual student or you can do it for the whole class. So just as a little heads up there to show you where to find it. But Dawn is right. The best place, if you can't figure it out right away, don't spend half an hour trying to figure out this feature. Go to that question mark in the help page. And then if you still can't find it, we have a feedback here where you can send a message to our help desk. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go back into the lesson, and I just want to walk you through it, what it might look like in your classroom. And this was about Muslim innovations and adaptations. So here's a preview, and remember the preview is going to connect students' lives and prior knowledge to the content. You regularly experience and even benefit from something called cultural diffusion. Cultural diffusion is the spread of cultural elements such as food, art, music, sports, language, and ideas from one culture to another. Cultural diffusion occurs as different societies interact with each other through trade, travel, or even conflict. Often these elements are changed or adapted in the regions where they spread. So here are the preview notes. So now they're going to open up their notebook, either the paper or the digital, and complete the notes. Think of some ways in which your life is influenced by culture in other parts of the world. Consider things like food, language, holidays, and music. So they're going to fill in this prompt here. And this is a drawing prompt, so they can add text, they can do pictures, whatever they want to. They can also, if your students are using the paper notebook, then they would just use their paper notebook. List any ways that particular food, language, holiday, or music has been adopted or changed since coming to your community. So we're trying to get them to make a connection, a personal connection with cultural diffusion. And then they're going to share out with the class. And then here is the transition slide that's going to kind of tell them how the preview is connected to the content. In this lesson, you will learn how cultural diffusion affected medieval Muslims. Muslims during this time developed new innovations, made adaptations to existing technology, scholarships, art, music, and so forth. This knowledge spread to different areas. So we're going to be looking at that. Then the last part of the preview is always to read the introduction, then locate the essential question, and discuss and then discuss these following questions with the class. Usually for my students, the introduction is generally pretty short, and I read the introduction out loud to my students. Or guess what? I can press that play button and have this person, have the reader read it for him. I don't feel like my students are quite invested enough yet in the content to really do a good job reading this, so that's why we read it together. And that is the preview. Then we have some vocabulary slides, and you are welcome to teach vocabulary whenever you want to. You can do it as part of the preview. Maybe on day one, you're going to do the preview and the vocabulary. We have a slide here, and if you press the plus button, you'll get the definition. These are the these are the content vocabulary words for this lesson. And then there's a drag and drop. Students can do this on their own if you assign the slides, or you can do it as a class. And then we get to the activity. And this is a social studies skill builder. And again, this is slides that you're going to be projecting in your classroom. During this activity, your teacher will assign you a partner to work with. So it's a partner activity. You will be working with your partner to learn about some of the innovations and adaptations made by medieval Muslims. Before the activity, you'll need to gather background information by reading section 1. So they have to read the first section and answer some questions. And then here is the activity itself. Follow these steps to learn about 9 innovations and adaptations made by Muslims. With your partner, examine one of the 9 placards on the walls. So you pull out your placards, or if you can't find them or you lost one, you just pop open the PDF and you can print them out or print out some extra copies. Scan the headings and subheadings in sections 2 to 10 to find the category that you think matches the innovation or adaptation shown on the placard you are viewing. In your reading notes, write the placard letter in the space under the appropriate section number and heading. Then read the appropriate section of the text and answer the reading notes. So they're going to explore these placards, and they all say a Muslim innovation or adaptation. And then they're going to scan their section of reading to see what, let me get back to this, what section that image or primary source might go with. So they're going to have their text open, either the digital or the hard copy. They're going to look at this first picture. And then they're going to try and figure out which category that image goes with. And sometimes they might need to pop it open and start reading it to decide, depending on which image it is. But they're doing this with a partner. And what I like to do with this lesson is do a demonstration for one of them. So they're examining these images, and then they're going to read, and then they're going to complete the notes. So what you'll notice with this is they're working with a partner, they're examining some visuals, some primary sources, they're reading, and then so the reading is chunked. They aren't reading the whole lesson from beginning to end. It's incorporated into the lesson. So then after most are done, then we're going to do a class share out. And they can take notes on any that they didn't finish and just share with the class what they learned and what notes they wrote for it. And the next few slides are like, it's going to be a debrief of the activity. Each group will have a few minutes. The students in each group will stand up and present their placard. As you watch each presentation, take notes on any that you didn't visit and complete their reading notes. And then these slides are just for each section. So placard A goes with section 4, and then the kids are going to go up, or you can just have them share at their desk or at the table group. However you would like to facilitate that debrief of the activity, science and technology, and so on and so forth. So each one of these is a placard that goes with one of the reading sections. And that's what this is for when they're doing the debrief. So I'm going to just click ahead for the sake of time. Bookmaking and literature, art and music, and then we'll get to the processing. So the processing is always going to circle back to that essential question. We want to make sure that the students can answer that essential question. And this is going to be a kind of a continuum processing. Which innovations and adaptations that you learned about are the most significant, which are the least significant? As a class, drag each innovation and adaptation onto the spectrum. So this is where we're going to have that class discussion. Of course, there is no right or wrong answer here. We want them to make that decision and have some reasons. These are draggable, and you can reset in between classes. And then we have the processing. So for this one, it is to choose 5 adaptations or innovations to play that they placed along the spectrum. For each adaptation, they need to do 3 things: label it, draw an appropriate symbol for it, and then write 1 sentence explaining the placement on the spectrum. And that is it for the activity. So you notice we had a preview. We had the activity itself, the skill builder, where they're examining those primary source images. And then we have the debrief and the processing. And that's pretty typical of any of our classroom activities. Let's see. If we go back to the lesson overview page, I do want to show you some of the assessment options. Again, I scroll down to 3 assessments, assess with. This processing here, that was the one that I just showed you that's in the classroom activity. Then we also have these lesson games. This is a lesson review game, and students really like these. This is a reveal the picture. Sometimes it's like a Jeopardy board with categories. Students will click on a number and then a multiple choice question pops up. If they get it right the first time, or they have 2 chances to get it right. If they get it right the first time, they'll get a full point. If they get it right on their second guess, they'll get half a point. If they don't get it right after 2 guesses, then they get it wrong. So I got it right. So you can see an image is going to be revealed. And these are assignable and they are auto graded for you. And then we also have vocabulary games. And these are more of a video game style. There's a few different versions of it. This one's community cleanup. You're just driving down the road, blah, 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 you're cleaning up. Because we like to remind them that they should clean up after themselves, and you're gonna hit a roadblock. A definition pops up and they choose the word. And then you just keep going. I'm gonna go back. And then we have a summative assessment option. Now, the lesson games, they can take them as many times as they want. They can restart, or in settings, you can turn off that ability to restart. So that's up to you how you want to use it. In the summative assessment, we have a pre-made assessment for you that goes with the activity, and you can use the eyeball to preview it. We always start with mastering the content, and this is some multiple choice questions. Sometimes DOK1, DOK2. Sometimes there's a text that they need to look at, or an image. Sometimes there's a map, or maybe even a graph. Here's a riddle that they need to resolve, or that solve. And then we have applying social studies skills, and that is usually there's a text excerpt, an image, or something like that they have to, and it's an open answer. So they need to type their answer. And then the last question is always exploring the essential question. So again, we're going back to that essential question, making sure that they gained the knowledge and the skills to be able to answer that essential question. So this one's usually a little bit of a longer prompt, or a longer answer, or longer response. Now these are customizable. If you think, oh, that test is way too long, I need to make it shorter, I want to add my own questions, you can definitely do that. You'll have to make a copy, and oh gosh, we're almost out of time. You'll make a copy, and then you can follow the instructions in the help page on how to edit it. It's really easy to do and quite intuitive. So my time has run out, unfortunately, but I'm going to take you to some additional resources. I showed you that professional development tab. Please lean in on that and check it out. Super helpful, and you can jump around. You do not have to go from the beginning to the end. You can choose the topic that you need information and help on. We have newsletter that you're going to get in your email every month if you have an account, if your district has adopted, I think. And then we have a closed Facebook group that we'd love to have you in. You can join our Facebook group. We're also on Instagram And well, we have a Facebook account, and then we have a closed group just for TCI teachers. So I'd love to see you guys in there. We have the professional development that I told you about. We have a TCI coach program. If you're interested in being a teacher leader within your district, or maybe you already are a teacher leader in your district and you want to become certified, that's also a program in our professional development. So check it out. There's a course for it. And then we have a kind of a fun giveaway for the summit. So if you go into social media on Facebook or Instagram and use the hashtag TCI Summit 25 to post something that you learned about, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $100 gift card, and even more important, that TCI llama that we all love. So please go ahead and share on social media. And then finally, I have instructions for you to go to second period. I think you're going to need to leave this session and then go back out to the lobby and click join for the next session that you'd like to join. It's been a pleasure hosting you all. We got a lot covered, but there's always so much more to do. So we'll see you in the next session. Have a great day and have fun teaching with TCI.